Welcome to the Quint and Quint Hindi and welcome to our show Badi Badi Baatein.
The last time Manipur has seen this level of violence is back in 1998.
ये सभा मंत्री परिषद में विश्वास का अभाव प्रकट करती है.
The government clearly has the numbers. So what does the India alliance aim to achieve from this no confidence motion? The Bharatiya Janata Party has been speaking about Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. How do you see these parallels being drawn?
And if the BJP wants to talk about women, yes, let us have a talk about Bilkis Bano, what has happened to the wrestlers who protested for 2 months. These are the people who just voted for Prime Minister Modi a year and a half ago. He cannot afford to be invisible at the time of crisis.
Welcome to our show Badi Badi Baatein. This term means a lot of things in a lot of situations. In the current political context of India, what does this term mean to you?
Well, as someone from the northeast, I feel abandoned and isolated because even though I'm not from Manipur, I feel for Manipur. My own state has seen insurgency, the entire region has seen insurgency, and because of insurgency, we have been very divided as people and we have not developed as much as we would have liked when compared to the rest of the country. And therefore, the attitude and the indifference of the Prime Minister and his government, his continued support for a government in the state of Manipur which have miserably failed. It's been one of the bloodiest conflicts in the history of Manipur. So I do feel, and I can say for my fellow brothers and sisters in Manipur as well, that we feel abandoned and isolated, both from polity to a section, because from the media as well. And then what rubs further more salt to the wounds is that it's been a week of Parliament. We thought that this would be an issue that is all parties on day one would issue a statement of solidarity, and the Prime Minister, for someone who is so visible in the past, who is so visibly travelled to the northeast on so many different occasions, who makes a lot of hue and cry that no other Prime Minister before him or no other government has visited the northeast as much as possible, seems to be a Prime Minister and a government that only visits for government inaugurations, inaugurating roads and highways and railway stations, but when there's crisis, is nowhere to be found.
You have moved a no confidence motion in the Lok Sabha. It has been accepted, but no discussion has happened yet. Now, the question being asked is why? The government clearly has the numbers. So what does the India alliance aim to achieve from this no confidence motion?
Well, the question first is why the need for a no confidence motion? As I said, there's a state of internal civil war in Manipur. All political parties on day one should have risen together, passed a resolution saying that we are sorry for what has happened in Manipur. We express our solidarity with those who are been victims of violence. We appeal to everyone that to lay down their arms and come forward and let us start a process of dialogue and reconciliation, and we could have passed a resolution and the Prime Minister himself could have spoken on this. In fact, this is exactly what has happened in the past when there has been a conflict in the northeast.
मणिपुर की जो घटना सामने आई है, किसी भी सभ्य समाज के लिए ये शर्मसार करने वाली घटना है.
And it's ironical that the Prime Minister chooses to make a statement outside Parliament, but even that he does not want to repeat inside Parliament. He expressed solidarity for the women, but he doesn't want to say that inside Parliament. India is known to the world as a world of parliamentary traditions. That's why, in order to preserve that tradition, we pressed with the demand for a vote of no confidence, knowing very well what the numbers are. But if through the vote of no confidence, the Prime Minister comes, upholds the traditions of Indian parliamentary democracy, sends a message of solidarity, announces a strong plan, a roadmap for reconciliation in Manipur, I think we would have achieved our success, even though the motion might be defeated by greater numbers.
You spoke about the state of women in Manipur. The Bharatiya Janata Party has been speaking about incidents in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. Union Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani ji, she also raised it in the parliament and said, does the opposition have the guts to raise these issues? How do you see these parallels being drawn?
Well, whenever women are assaulted in any part of India, we are all concerned, whether that's Rajasthan or whether that's Madhya Pradesh or whether that's Delhi. It does not matter which state or which political party is ruling that state. But what is happening in Manipur is 2 months of orchestrated violence, 2 months of lawlessness, where mobs are on the rampage, burning down homes, burning down churches, assaulting women of the other community. That kind of 2 months of lawlessness is nowhere to be found. And if the BJP wants to talk about women, yes, let us have a talk about what happened in the Bilkis Bano case, where the assaulters have walked away scot-free. What has happened to the wrestlers who protested for 2 months, and yet the government still gives support to its own member of parliament, Brij Bhushan Singh. He is still a member of the party. So we can have a debate on the safety of women, but to equate what is happening with Manipur with the state of women across India, I think it's an effort by the BJP to obfuscate from the first and most basic question: why did it take Prime Minister 78 days to utter his first statement on Manipur? Just because a video became viral, did you not get reports of how women were being assaulted over the past 2 months when he was busy touring America or when he was busy campaigning in Karnataka? Did the reports not reach the office of the Prime Minister?
As somebody from the Northeast, how would you explain the situation of Manipur going so out of hand? Because the violence began almost over 80 days ago now. What kind of failures went into Manipur being what it is today? At what levels did those failures take place? And could this have been stopped earlier?
You see, in Manipur and the Northeast have seen clashes between communities in the past as well. And therefore, it is always a sensitive government, both at the state and the center, who have their eyes and ears to the ground to see that the tensions between two communities do not fray and do not turn violent. And I think it is that sensitivity which has been lacking over the past 2.5 years, especially from the state government. They have managed to only preserve their own political agenda. They're working as per a political design. The Chief Minister, as I said, is a key stakeholder in this current conflict. And I think that blind support that the Prime Minister has given to the State Chief Minister to implement his political design, irrespective of what that does to the integrity of Manipur, irrespective of what that does to the law and order situation of Manipur, irrespective of what that does to the human rights and self-respect and dignity of women in Manipur, that the fact that the Chief Minister has been allowed by the Prime Minister and the BJP leadership to implement his political design, I think that has led to what we are. Had it been a Congress era, in a Congress time, the Chief Minister would have been asked to resign much earlier. That if the people demanded elections, we would have gone for elections, because we've done that in the past. There have been many such instances. But it's just the ideology of the BJP and RSS to get power at any cost, even if it means sacrificing our domestic security in Manipur, our domestic security in the Northeast, and the integrity. And I think that's essentially the main reason for where we are. Manipur has not seen this scale of violence, this level of devastation for the past 23 years. The last time Manipur has seen this level of violence is back in 1998.
The cookies are demanding a separate administration. There are a lot of complex demands. Do you think it is viable? What should the state government do?
See, there are complex demands. There are many demands. The demand from the Kuki community is one. there are other demands from the Meitei community. You all have to, what is required right now is a dialogue, a process of dialogue and reconciliation. We have to win the faith of the people. We have to regain the trust of the people. And I think only after we get the faith of the people back in the state administration, back in the process of politics, back in the process of democracy, then we can address all the concerns. But right now, there is a complete lack of faith in the state. So even if there is a demand made by a community, who's going to address that? Because there's a complete breakdown in the relationship between the people and the state, whether that's the state government of Manipur or the union government of India.
What, according to you, can be the immediate remedies that need to be put in place to solve the Manipur situation?
Well, as I said, the Chief Minister has, due to his decision, caused the loss of so many lives. Under his reign, ordinary mobs have stormed police stations and have sophisticated weapons. To win back the people's trust, the BJP must and should ask the Chief Minister to resign. Secondly, how did this happen? In which other incident in modern India's history do you remember mobs storming police stations and looting weapons? Where has it happened? You tell me, has it happened in Rajasthan? Has it happened in Chhattisgarh? A retired Supreme Court judge must have an inquiry as to find out how did this law and order collapse when there's a significant presence of the Indian armed forces. How was it possible that so many police stations got looted? Not once, but many. And thirdly, as I said, you have to win the trust of the people so that we can go back to living the way we were, not as two communities living in different parts of Manipur, but as one India, as one Manipur. And these are the people who just voted for Prime Minister Modi in an election year and a half ago. And Prime Minister Modi at that time campaigned so much and promised so much. He cannot afford to be invisible at the time of crisis. He must come forward, be visible. If it requires an all-party delegation, and if he wants to lead it, an all-party peace delegation, we will be part of it. We will support the idea. So it is important for the Prime Minister to take personal initiative in restoring peace and normalcy in Manipur.
Coming to the India Alliance, how do the constituents of the India Alliance plan to coordinate? Is there going to be a joint strategy? Is the Congress party willing to make any compromise that is required for the India Alliance when it comes to the 2024 elections?
I'm quite pleased as to how the alliance is shaping up. I think in a short span of time, we have achieved huge milestones. The way we have coordinated with each other in the parliament is another huge milestone. And the fact that after this we're meeting in Maharashtra, where the BJP have tried through the ED and income tax and CBI to break the Shiv Sena, to break the NCP. The BJP party might have taken an Ajit Pawar, might have taken an Eknath Shinde, but the support of the Shiv Sena lies with Uddhav Thackeray ji. The support of the NCP lies with Sharad Pawar ji.
Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has been attacking the alliance name India. He recently said that those who are against Bharat have exploited the name India. How do you respond to these comments?
Well, he is clearly following the diktat of the Prime Minister, who was the first one to attack the India Alliance and continues to attack the India Alliance. And we see this as a long series of attempts from the Prime Minister to divert the issue. So first he talks about Chhattisgarh, talks about Rajasthan, talks about West Bengal. That attempt at diversion did not succeed. So now they're talking about India and the India Alliance. But have the courage to face the scrutiny of the opposition, have the courage to have media ask you questions as to why you still not visited Manipur when Rahul Gandhi has gone and met the victims of violence. Why can't you? You talk about the suffering of women. Have you met a single woman victim from Manipur?
As the son of one of the tallest leaders of the country, you must have seen politics growing up and various political scenarios through the years. How do you assess the current political discourse in India?
Well, I think democracy is at risk. When universities are targeted by the political establishment just because of an ideology, I think that's very dangerous. When students, just because of the ideology, are being sent to jail for frivolous cases, I think that's a risk to democracy. When think tanks are targeted, when media channels are being bought, I think it's a very significant risk to democracy. And when institutions that are supposed to protect the integrity of the constitution, whether that's the election commission or the law enforcement agencies, when they are also completely forgetting their constitutional obligations, I think there's a significant risk to democracy. And we see its fruits, we see the result in a Manipur where there's been a complete collapse because of, as I said, selfish political reasons. So we face in India, we are at the crossroads, and it's for the people of India to decide where they want the future of India to be.
Thank you so much, Gauravji. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure speaking to you.